All good.
Okay, good morning, everyone. We are here today because of the Hoboken Public Library, and I would like to start out by saying thank you so much to the library for sponsoring this class, Art at Home. We are thrilled that the library in Hoboken is so supportive of the arts and the arts community and all those people out there during this time of
Yes.
pandemic who are forced to do art at home. Thank you so much, Hoboken Public Library. Today is our last class for the month of
Oh,
July.
any cashier. It's not like a separate department.
I'm going to ask folks please to mute yourselves. Thanks so much. So I'm going to start with the ground rules, I guess. As a reminder, if you could please mute yourselves while I'm doing the instruction portion of this lesson. And if at any time you have anything that you need to say or that you want to share, you can then unmute or put your comment in the chat box. So this is our final art class for the month of July. And during July, our focus has been on French speaking artists or French American artists, because the month of July is when we celebrate Bastille Day, or French Independence Day, as well as American Independence Day, which was supported by the French government. We owe a lot to the French government. They helped us win the War of Independence. And I neglected to celebrate the other major thing that this month is noted for. It is Disability Month, American Disability Month, and I'm going to make up for that in the month coming up. I'm going to try and find some artists who are disabled. I want to focus on them as well in August. So for our final lesson, I am delighted to introduce an actual living artist. We don't usually have this amazing opportunity to speak to an artist who is alive and well and not so incredibly famous that we don't have direct access to them. So we have a famous in Hoboken and Jersey City and the New York metropolitan area artist with us today. And his name is Ibou Ndoye. Ibou is short for Ibrahima Ndoye. He hails from Dakar, Senegal. He is a painter, a sculptor, a mixed media artist, an installation artist. He does just about everything. And as with every lesson, I'm gonna allow him, it's a little bit different today. He's gonna talk about his work. You're more than welcome to make comments about his work, ask him questions about his work. We'll talk with him about his work. And then I'm gonna give you folks an assignment inspired by his work, I hope. And then we'll go to work on our own creative fun. So Ibou, I'm gonna open up your folder. So this is a difficulty we're faced with, trying to put both of us on the screen at the same time.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
I'm gonna move, I'm gonna make it a bit smaller so I can get to your folder. Do you want to talk a little bit about your background before
Yeah.
we look at your art?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Hi.
Sorry about that.
My name is Ibou Ndoye. I'm originally from West Africa, Senegal. So I've been doing art my whole life because my mom was a dressmaker and my grandmother a tie-dye artist. And I have cousins who were also artists. So as a kid, I was involved in anything that was really artistic at home. I used to draw patterns for my grandmother to do embroidery, and and then I used to really do my own tie-dye t-shirt because we had like soccer team. And in the soccer team, when we were kids, we were supposed to have like our own t-shirts. So we would go to the market, buy secondhand t-shirts and tie-dye them. And then the other thing is I learned showing because my mom had a big business, and then we were the only boys in the house to help her when she had like a lot of customers. So I learned sewing a little bit. Yeah, I think it was one of my first skill. And I used to do a lot of drawings. I used to draw a lot because I saw my mom drawing like her own patterns. And I always question myself, how can somebody be explaining to you something and you turn those ideas into like images? That's really fascinated me. So and then as I was growing, so we had in Senegal what we call like a artistic and sportive association. Like, and I was the director of that branch in our neighborhood. So I was involved in organizing like a lot of cultural events. And in the late 80s, we had a movement in Senegal called the Setal, which is spelled S-E-T, like set, S-E-T-A-L. It means like cleanup. It was a cleanup operation that we had because in those days, the youth of the country, Senegal, had a problem with the president, and he called us like obscene Setal, Setal,
Tell me what to.
T S. The last one is S-E-T-A-L. S-T-A-L.
Okay. Yeah.
Cleanup. It means cleanup operation. Cleanup.
So I'm putting it in the chat box.
Yeah, this movement consisted of doing murals and like cleaning up the old area because the government wasn't doing like anything positive, and Dakar, which is the capital city of Senegal, was really dirty. And all the artists were involved to create murals and to beautify the area. So I did a couple of murals. It was back in the late 80s, and it was a great event. And I got a chance to meet the head of department of Sorbonne from Paris who came to make a documentary about that. And then there's another French television made a huge and interesting documentary about that event. And that event helped me and motivated me. And I get involved in glass painting. And I started like doing glass painting. But before glass painting, it was mural. And I started doing glass paintings, and which is a very well-known art technique in Senegal. And there are three kinds of glass painting because there are two generations. Because glass painting was the first technique introduced in Senegal in the early 9th century, and early late 9th century. And then when it was introduced, it was really made in a very traditional way. There was a certain kind of dimension that artists were supposed to work on. And it was mostly related to Islamic scenes because people were inspired by the religious inspiration from Islam. And then after, there was another generation, which was like the second generation. Those artists were the ones who were given scholarship to go to Europe, to Paris to study. So when they came, they kind of modernized the glass painting, and they were really influenced by French artists. And then in the early 90s, late 80s, there was my generation. So we can, especially like the work I was doing, we were like innovating that style, which is the style of glass painting. And I started like adding a lot of other mediums and materials to my glass painting, like stone, animal leather, iron, and mostly aluminum. And the other thing I was also doing was like I would break my glass. I would break my paintings. I would paint on a piece and then let it down and break it and make another layer on it, like glue it like on another tape. Because for me, it was the reflection of life, the reflection of society. Because we all once in our lifetime have broken heart, broken promises, broken friendship, broken relationship, and the world which is breaking apart. That's why I sometimes purposely break my glass paintings. And after experimenting glass paintings, I also get involved with paperwork. So I do a lot of drawings, a lot of works on paper.
Kind of start showing some
Yeah.
of your work.
Yeah.
So I'm going to now
Could I ask a quick question?
Yes.
absolutely. That's Jane, right?
Yes, it is. And sorry for that unmute earlier. So I heard you say, Ibou, that you learned as a young boy actually to turn ideas into images. I thought that was really profound.
Yeah.
And could you venture a guess how old you were when that began to form in your mind?
Yeah, I was mostly like eight, nine, something like that. 8, 9,
Thank you.
and that's when it started.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And it also connects with the idea that early on you began to see the importance of expressing ideas in images, and then as the political winds blew, you were able to become part of the cleanup and the self-expression in your of the society.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, when I was doing that, it was just like a conscious movement, something that pushed people to show their talents. And people, it was the neighbors who were contributing. They would give you like paint. They would give you everything that's necessary. So in one way, we were in bad terms with the government. We didn't want to collaborate with them. We didn't, because the power that's the government was in power for over 20 years, and we wanted to get rid of them. And there was a riot, there was everything. And after the riot, the president gave a speech and said, "You young people are really obscene. They are of no use in this community." And this is at the moment that we started showing them that this generation of young people can do something that the government can't do in 1 year. And like in within 1 month, the whole country was clean. It became like an open museum, an open air museum. There were art, murals, sculpture everywhere around the town. Every artist was involved, and nobody was paid. And when the government saw that movement, they wanted to steal it from us because we don't want it even to publicize. We don't want television. We don't want anything. We would play loud music and like paint over the weekend, like all day long. So when the government get involved, brought the television, it started giving finance, we all stepped back and stopped the movement. And they tried it several times with a lot of money, but it never succeeded. Like the way it succeeded before.
So Ibou, do you want to talk
Uh,
about this particular everyone can see the painting now, correct? Yes?
Yeah, and this is one of my glass painting. It's I did it on some window. It's on a window. I really like using windows when I do these glass paintings because I always told myself that windows have a language. There's a language of windows, and there's a way we approach our windows. For instance, if you are in your house, inside your house, and you hear your kids screaming outside, there's a way you open your window. You just come and push it open and pop your head out. And if there's like if there's like a demonstration or like a march or whatever on the street, there's the way you approach, the way you stood on your window and you look at things, you know? If you're hiding or you owe somebody money and he's in front of your house waiting for you, there's a way you look at it through your window. You know?
Or if you hear a bird singing out your window.
Yeah.
You would come to the window differently.
Yeah, that's why I like painting, doing on glass. And I like glass because of the transparency. It's very transparent. You paint on the back of the glass and you see it like on the front. And you know, we all need and want transparency in our life. And at the same time, glass is very fragile. It's a fragile like medium. It requires like respect, the way I like you treat it, you know. And then I mostly paint on glass in the summertime because the sun will help me to dry it quickly. If I paint like on in winter time, it's difficult because I mostly use oil. And what you see in this piece over here, it is inspired by street art. Like in Senegal, you see um, art dealers who don't have a gallery. They just hung their pieces on the wall, and that's how they sell it. And that's why I call this like the African art dealer. As you can see in this piece, there's a lot of paintings. There are paintings and this painting, and it's a pretty big piece. I think it's 31 by 30, 32 or something like that.
Can I ask about all the faces in this? Why do you do so many faces and so often in your work? I frequently do faces.
Because face reflect our own personality, you know. And when you walk on the street, how people look at you, like there are always faces with an asked question. People you meet for the first time, they look at you in a way you know that they want to talk to you, they want to ask you a question, but they will never ask you the question because they're not like really familiar to you or they're not like really close to you. So I always wonder what kind of question is this guy want to ask me? What kind of question is reflected on his face? These are things that I'm really curious to know when I'm walking on the street. That's why I like drawing faces, and I call them faces with unasked questions. Because we always have questions on our mind when we meet people, when we meet somebody who we don't know and who we want to discover or who we want to find out and who we want to know who he is and where he's from. And those questions are always an ask.
Cool. Okay, let's look at something else.
Yes.
This is, I always say that this is the part of Zoom that I find difficult because it takes so long. What about this one?
Okay.
Oh yeah, this is good. Because it's a face.
And this piece you have over here, it is a book. It's pretty big. It's big book. It's like 22 by 24. And it has like so many pages. So what you see in here is like collage with t-shirt. The one on your right.
This one or this?
No, this one is.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one is like a t-shirt. Is my old t-shirt because I don't want to throw away my old clothes. I always turn my old clothes into art. And I did a collage with my t-shirt and turn it like into a mask. And the next one is also like a piece of fabric that I collage first. I collage it first on a cardboard, on a brown paper, but this is strong brown paper like cardboard. After collaging it, collaging the paper, I draw on it. I do the drawing and do the faces and everything, and then paint the background. Or sometimes I paint the background and I paint the background first and do the collage and then do the drawing. And this is a mask. That's what I call living mask. Because for me, we're all like living masks. I was saying it like 10 years ago, and now we're all wearing masks. So I started working on masks over 10 years ago, and now we're all wearing masks. We wear different kind of masks according to places where we are at work. They're the mask we wear, and those masks are invisible masks. There's a mask we wear on the street, and the mask we wear when we talk to our kids. All those masks are invisible masks, which I try to depict over here. And that's why I call them like a living mask. And we are all living masks. In addition of being living masks, no, we are wearing other masks to protect ourselves. That it means that masks are not only for festivals or art events or social events, but now it has another connotation. And then I do these books because for me, when I was a kid, I liked reading. And before even I could speak English and French, before I could read, I liked book. In those days, whenever I opened a book, it wasn't for the content, but just to see the images of what was like in the book. And seeing the images would help me to understand what was like written or what was said. Because images are support for ideas and a lot of things. That's why I'm creating these kind of books. It's like sometimes these books are just like narratives with words or narratives without words. That's why I make these kind. Some of them are colorful, some of them are just black and white, and some of them are just like blank like this. There's no words, there's nothing written. It's just like a book without anything. And then that reminds me of 1 minute of silence. When you were observing like 1 minute of silence, what do you think about? What's on your mind? That's why some of the books are blank. There's nothing in it, just like pages.
Except for your images.
Not images, nothing. I got books like that, no images and nothing.
Huh.
Just like pages.
I've never seen them.
I'm hiding them. It's 1 minute of silence.
I've never seen them. Okay, cool. So we'll look at a few more images. But I want to show something interesting. These are imaginary, correct?
Yeah.
These are masks. But notice the proportion. Ibou has stayed within the proportional range of the human face. So we've spoken about eye length proportion of the human face, and particularly in this mask, the nose is one eye length. So even though this is an imaginary face, it adheres to the rules that we're going to go over momentarily, because our goal today is to work on portraiture. And I'm going to give you a choice. You can do an Ibou style imaginary face, or you can do a realistic portrait. It's going to be your choice today. So we're going to look at some more of his work. First,
I like working on a variety of things and different kind of mediums, because it gives me the freedom to express myself the way I really want to do.
And you're a sculptor too, right?
Yeah.
This one, oh, you want to show this? Yeah. Oh yeah, I love it. Speaking of sculpture.
And the piece you're going to see is my work on iron. I do welding. This is a iron piece, which is like a welding iron piece. I did it 2 years ago because I was my father was a welder. So and then he wanted one of his kids to be a welder. So he asked to there was one brother who started doing welding, and because of the light or something like that, he got eyes problem and he stopped. And another brother did it and stopped. So and I really wanted to do welding and see what my father was doing for a living, how hard it was, and what my father went through. So I started doing welding classes in Jersey City because they were giving evening welding classes. When I was in Senegal, I wanted to do it, but I never got a chance because my father was working like in a big factory, and I couldn't get access to where he was working. So I started doing these welding classes, and I was like, I need a welding certificate, but I don't think I'm gonna be doing welding for a living. But I just want to learn it to do art. So I think the second week, the third week, I knew what I wanted to do. Like everything, any kind of piece of metal that was around the welding class, I grabbed it and start like doing like my sculptures. So I did a couple of sculptures, and the welding teacher saw me, Louis Pratt. He's a Jersey City artist, and he was like, "Wow, you were an artist." I said, "Yes," and he was like, "Come on, stay in that corner and do whatever you want to do, and take whatever you want to take and do your pieces." And I started like doing like welding and doing pieces. And I remember sometime he would give me a ride to take these pieces home because he was really happy. And then when I was building a collection, he was like, "Man, I gotta start watching you because you're taking things I want to know." you know, yeah. And I developed, and I had a huge collection of this because I was working this way. Like in the wintertime, I will do welding because it's cold outside and it's hot in the welding studio. In the summertime, I would do glass painting because the sun to will help me to dry the pieces very quickly. So it means I had a calendar which I divided according to the season of the year. So I did a lot of pieces. So I like welding, and which is like really wonderful. It reminds me of my father because my father was really short spoken. So I remember the last conversation we had was about like welding. So when I told him that I was doing welding, he was very happy, and that conversation lasted very very long. So we talked about his experience. He told me that he did welding for like almost 35 years, working in companies. He told me like the different kind of mediums he used, and that was like our last conversation, and that was like one of the most interesting conversation I've ever had with him.
Mm.
Yeah, that's why I like welding. I mean, I have a lot of pieces, but I rarely put them in shows. For me, I'm really attached to these pieces. I really love them.
Art is the great communicator.
Yeah.
Okay, I think one more. Ibou?
Yeah, one more, a couple of more. Then.
Okay. And we have to get you to speak a little French because
Do they speak French?
a few people in this class do speak French. This
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Some of them fluently, in fact. So this is work on canvas?
Yes. This is a work on canvas. It's a collage piece. As you can see, there are like fabric collage over here. You got fabric collage over here. And in all these patterns you see, patterns and motifs are inspired by African fabric. So you see like a lot of these things in African fabric, like in kente clothes, in tie-dye, you know, you have a lot of patterns over here. And these patterns also reminds me of urban murals, because when in that settled moment, when we were doing that movement, I use a lot of patterns in my drawing, and you see like a lot of patterns and urban murals and in Senegal. I'm really influenced by that, and my work is also influenced by my mother, who was like a dressmaker. I was always surrounded by fabrics and colors. You know, that's why I like working with fabric. So and I put them in my work. You see here, there's a collage here and here and here, because I'm influenced both by my mother, by the fact that I use fabric collage, inspired by my father, because he was like a welder, and I do welding. So I got a lot of influence. And then I remember when my young brother was born, my father did made a cradle for him, and then he used to like do a lot of functional things, functional pieces at home. Then the influence is both from my mother and from my father. And that's why I sometimes when people say you are a self-taught artist, I say like, you know, I'm a home-taught I'm a home-taught artist, you know. They say I don't know how to do it. I'm a homeschool artist. And when they say you self-taught, I say no, I'm homeschooled, because I sell things at home. And I was working at home before I took it out on the street. Everything started in my own home, because it was at home that I saw my cousin painting. I saw functional pieces that my father made, and I saw also like how my mom was turning, I mean, ideas into images, and how my grandmother was doing tie dye. So the skill was learned at home.
And
You know?
so, do you believe anybody can become an artist?
Oh, yes. I mean, for me, like my art was kind of my way of life, because I grew up. I would every day see people doing this, and I saw that was normal, and I saw that was like how everybody should be living, creating, doing things. And my mom used to tell me that our eyes have hands. When you create, it means when you create, it means like you open the hands of your eyes. When you destroy things, it means like your hands are blind. You know, those who create have hands that have eyes, and those who don't create, the eyes that are in their hands are blind. That's what he made me believe, that we should create and not destroy. You know, and this is like a collage, which I call the imaginary people. As you can see, it's imaginary. The eye of the person is here, and the mouth is here, and you can see the breast, and you can see the hand. So I sometimes like creating like this imaginary people, and use patterns for the background, like either like kind of pattern from like own imagination, you know, because I don't sketch this. It comes from like my own imagination. And these drawings you see are very quick drawings. You know, it wouldn't take me like 2 minutes or something like that to do it. Because a lot of artists think before they do, and other artists do, and then they think what they did.
It's true.
Yeah. Some people, they take time, think about what they're going to do. Others, they just do it and then think about like what they just did.
And both ways are okay, right?
And both ways are okay. And in my process, I mostly do and then think about how I do, what I did, and then try to see how I can process this and how can I add a lot of things. And I rarely erase lines or whatever it is. Because for me, the first lines I draw are always the perfect ones, because they're just like the first words out of a kid's mouth. That's the joy I feel, you know, when you have a newborn baby and he's growing, when he start like mumbling and even you don't understand what he's saying, you're happy because you know that he's expressing himself, even if he's misunderstood or not understood.
What a beautiful way to explain that. So poetic. I had to interject. I have a quick question, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. This is
Also, good morning, guys.
Hello,
Good
and how you
morning.
doing?
In regards to, you said, I know you said it comes from your imagination and it's a quick drawing. Do you ever kind of make whatever your freehand is, the shape, and then kind of look at it and then decide what it's going to be? Or do you just kind of let your hand go in terms of, you know, you have kind of a muscle memory in your characters and things and patterns, which are amazing. I love that they don't take away from the main, but yeah, that's my question. Do you find you're finding your hand kind of going with the flow, and then you look at it and you see what kind of image that you're going to be producing, or is it just kind of, do you just go with the flow and you kind of have an idea?
For me, like when I draw this kind of images, I just say I'm gonna let my hands slide on the paper. You know, I just let it slide. So I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. You know, I don't have any idea about what I'm doing. But when after I did it, I think about like, okay, now what did I do? What did I do? What do I want this to be now? This
Cool.
is how it is. And even when I'm creating the books, it's like the same thing. You know, because for me, like I'm kind of spontaneous when it comes to painting. I do things fast. When I start doing things, I just want to see the finished project. If I'm working on big things, sometimes it took me like 12 hours. I can leave home like early in the morning and come back like in the evening, or somebody will call me and say, "Are you still working?" I would say yes. You know. So when I do things, I just want to see it growing, see like the finished project. So I let things like lead me. It's like I'm talking to them. It's like the people I draw tell me I wanna turn my head on this way. I wanna go this way. I want like my hand to be swinging this way. So this is how I work. And when I'm working, I'm not thinking about selling. I just do like what I feel like doing. I just do what I feel like doing, and you know, for me, it is meditation, it is prayers, and creating is like contributing to the development of society, of community. You know, because it comes from deep down, it comes from far away. This might be things you've dreamt of, you've seen, you want to see. You know, yeah.
Absolutely. Very cool. Thank you.
So are there any more questions?
I have one about the T-shirt piece of art. Was that
It's Margot. Hi,
This is-
Margot.
Hi, Margot.
the? I was fascinated by that because I would love to, save things rather than donate them in some cases because they've been with me a long time. Was that a collage?
Yeah, it's a collage. I used white glue to collage it because I don't want to throw away some old clothes and some of my clothes because they hold a lot of memories. You know, there are a lot of memories. If you, for instance, go through your pictures and you see places where you were wearing it and places where you've been and something like that. So you just want to give them like a second function in life. I don't call it recycle. What I call it is like giving it like a second function.
Yes, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
some people do that with quilts, but I'm fascinated with the art
Thank you.
application. Okay.
In fact, Ibou will paint on anything, correct?
Yeah, I paint and this is a glass piece. This is, and that's what I was working recently, like plates. I would paint on plates, paint on my clothes. This is a glass painting. Some of you did the workshop. Everything is done in the back of the glass, on the back of the glass. You see. So for me,
Okay.
as an artist, I don't want to limit myself and say I'm a watercolor artist, I'm a glass painting artist. No, for me, like it's creativity. I should have the audacity to paint on everything I wanna paint. I paint on wood, on glass. I do works on plastic, paper, so fabric. So whatever I can get my hand on, I will use it for my work. I don't want to limit myself, and I don't want people to limit me. Call me like you only do glass painting or you only do this. So for me, I just wanna produce as many pieces as possible, and I create like the whole time. Sometimes I will take like a 1 month creating books, and other time I will take like a whole month only doing like glass paintings. And then like when the pandemic, I think I took like almost like a year and 3 months creating like huge canvases, glass painting. So created like a lot of body of work. There are times I create my own paintings, and times I show. Like mostly October, November until June. It's like mostly like a lot of shows and teaching. Other times I'm mostly in my studio and I create, or I'm at home in the backyard doing my glass paintings.
Can I just say I wanted to thank you. It's been wonderful listening to you because clearly you live and breathe your art and you're just so passionate about it, and it transfers over to your work. And I just wanted to thank you. It was great to hear you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, for me, like it's part of my life. It helps a lot. Last night I was talking to Lee, and I was like, imagine we didn't have sport and art, we would be depressed. Because it kept me home. It kept me like, it helped me to really put myself together. And I drove everywhere. I like on the train when I had some books I made on the plane when I was going to Africa. So I drove. I sometimes have sketchbooks like my book art, so I create them with whatever I have. Sometimes have I my bag where I have my crayons, pastel, and my markers and everything. So anytime I have free time on the train, I will do something and put it aside. So at the end of the day, before going to bed, I will have a moment and say, what did I create today? What did I do today? Is what did I do today? And at the end of the week, I will say, okay, what did I do this week? For me, it's way of life. It helps emotionally, spiritually, and physically. It's therapeutic, for me. Yeah.
Merci.
Okay.
Merci, monsieur.
Yeah.
So are there any more questions? All right. Well, thank you so much, Ibou.
You're welcome.
I mean, it really is special, I think, to have an actual artist talk about their work. For me, it's so helpful to see that it's a universal process. We all go through the same things, except we do it in different ways. We all have our own style, but we all have an idea. We all come up with a way of creating that idea. We set about doing it and we make something. So it's really art. The whole process of making art is so exciting and so wonderful. And then to hear another artist, a professional artist, who has devoted their life to it talk about it, and we can relate to that on a personal level. It's really helpful, particularly to those of us who are beginning artists, but also to those of us who've been doing it our whole lives and maybe at a point where we're frustrated with our work and never think we're going to achieve anything. Know that we all go through this. We all have the same steps that we take in the process. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ibou.
Oh, you're welcome. So enjoy the
So
class
great.
and keep on creating.
Thank you so much, Ibou.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye.
Want to say a few words in French to honor the fact that we're talking about French-speaking artists?
Okay.
Bon.
I'm gonna say in French, je suis très content. I'm really happy to be the guest speaker, to be your guest speaker, or
Okay, bon.
Ok, merci. Je suis très content d'être invité ici. Merci beaucoup, c'est gentil.
Merci pour venir.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci pour venir.
Très bien, très bien.
Taraba.
Au revoir, bonne journée.
Au revoir. À bientôt.
À bientôt.
Oh my goodness, wasn't that great? Woohoo!
That was fabulous. Fabulous.
All right, so here's the deal for the rest of our lesson today. And I hope that Ibou's discussion is going to inspire you and has already primed the pump in your creative part of your brain today. I'm offering two things. One, you can stay with me and watch while I go over and review the proportions of the human face. And then you can proceed to do a portrait, a realistic portrait on your own. Or you can listen in, if you like, to the review of the proportions of the human face, but proceed to create a mask, an imaginary image as colorful as you can in the spirit of the kinds of images that you saw that Ibou create. Any questions? And you can use any media that you want in either project. But if you are a beginning portrait artist, I recommend that you just use a number 2 pencil. White paper, even photocopy paper is great, and have a pink eraser available. Erasing is good and nearby. But if you prefer drawing in Uniball pen or Sharpie or graphite or charcoal, whatever drawing equipment you feel comfortable using today. And if you want to work in color, that's cool too. If you want to do a portrait in soft pastel or oil pastel or paint a portrait, that's fine. We now have a little over an hour in which to work. So I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to gather up equipment. And I am going to put on the screen the diagram of the human face. I'm going to talk briefly about the proportions of the human face. And then I'm going to start demonstrating how I draw the human face. And everybody can either watch or not watch, and we can go to work.
Liz, I have a question.
Absolutely.
I bought myself
No.
a set of pencils, and they all carry names. They have letters or numbers.
Yes.
What is the rule behind the numbers? I can't tell the
The
difference.
lower the number,
The harder.
usually the softer. The lower the letter in the alphabet, the softer. So the H pencils are usually harder. The B pencils are softer. And the 2 pencils should be soft, but if you have something like a 6, that's pretty hard, like a 6H, that's really good for fine detail. It should be pretty hard. What I recommend, Nomi, find a piece of paper and test them all out.
Well, I did, and couldn't tell the difference too much. So why don't they have one criteria to? It's very confusing to have the numbers and the letters.
I don't know who made the system. Lauren, you want to Google it for us? I don't know who created the criteria for that.
You got it. What is the question? Who created the pencil criteria?
Yeah, we're wondering why pencils are numbered and lettered
All right, just give me a GIF.
and how that system was created and ranked. Because I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that the lower the letter on the alphabet, the closer to the beginning of the alphabet, the softer the pencil should be, and the lower the number, the softer the pencil should be.
Well,
And
that's
is
why,
pencil lighter?
that's why they're named. If it's, well, the letters like HB is for the middle of hard and bold, hard and soft.
Yes.
And then they go from there. I've never seen a number one, but their H is for when they're harder, and the points and the B's, as they go higher, the numbers go higher, they get bolder and bolder and bolder. They
And
get
darker and soft.
darker and darker. Yeah, right. Isn't it?
I think that's right. Yes.
I understand it.
Yes. H Nomi is for hard.
And heart.
Yes. Hard edge. It's good for hard edge detail work, the H is. And B is good for shading and softer things.
Got it.
So I
Thanks.
hope that helps.
Yes.
That's right. The number 2B is the best for drawing because it's one of the softer pencils, but if you sharpen it, it's great for doing detail work as well. It's a great multi-purpose pencil. The HB is good. HB is good if you want to create a sketch that you can barely see. It's really good for very fine line work. All right. And Lauren, you don't have to do the research now. I was teasing you. I would prefer you do your artwork now.
Okay, I'm putting a little something together and I will put it in the chat box, everyone.
Oh gosh, you're awesome. All right. So I am looking for proportions of the human face. Here we go. So I'm going to put up our old friend. Those of you who've worked with me before, this image is going to seem very familiar. I see many of you are working already. That's okay. If you want to listen to me with half an ear, that's fine. If you have never looked at this before, or if you want review, I recommend that you pay attention. So the first thing to notice about the human face, it's an oval. Believe it or not, many people are not aware of this, but it is wider at the top and narrower at the bottom. The second thing, the human face is symmetrical. If I were to take a chainsaw to my head and cut it down the middle, it is pretty much basically the same on both sides. You'll notice on this diagram, and I hope everyone can see it, there is also a horizontal line in the third oval at the top, in the top row. There is a horizontal line. That line represents where the eyes sit on the human face. And artists call these lines that are on the oval the guidelines. And I recommend, if you've never drawn the human face before, that you use these guidelines in your own drawing. And I'm going to show you how to do that momentarily. In the fourth oval on the top row, and I'm going to use my cursor to show you this oval here, there is another line. We now have 3 lines. This line, which is halfway between where the eyes are and the chin on the human face, represents the bottom of the nose. In the fifth oval here, we see a fourth line, halfway between the bottom of the nose and the chin. This is the guideline for the mouth. So the human face is incredibly proportioned. And I've mentioned this before, but in fact, the ancient Greeks had a mathematical formula. It's called the golden mean for the perfectly proportioned face. Some people have got it, some people don't. But for the most part, the average proportions of the human face fit into this guideline. All right, now we get to the exciting part. The human face can be measured in eye lengths. For example, if you look at the bottom row now, the first oval in the bottom row, the width of the human face is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lengths wide. And if you look at my face, if you can see me as well on the screen now, if you put your eraser end of your pencil on the inner part of your eye and then put your fingertips on the outer side of your eye, you can literally measure how many eye lengths across your own face is. And my face just happens to be 5 eye lengths wide. You can also use eye lengths to measure the length of the human nose. Watch this. This is an error, frequently made error, when people are trying to draw the human face. Voila, from the bridge of my nose to the tip of my nose, it is 1 eye length. I can never get this right when I'm looking at myself. So interesting to me. But it's 1 eye length. Test it on your own face because it's true. Another interesting thing on the human face, if you put the eraser end of your pencil in the middle of where your iris is and drop the pencil straight down, you will see that it is a straight line to the outer corner of your mouth. How cool is that? So you can figure out how long your mouth is from the position of your eyes on your face. If you drop a straight line from the inner corner of your eye to the outer edge of your nostril, that's another great guideline too. All right. Ears are another good measuring tool, and that's the last oval, number 6 down here, or 10, I guess this is. Number 10 oval, the last one. If you take your pencil and place it on the top edge of your ear and run it straight across your head, the top of your ear is level with your eyes. If you run your pencil on the bottom of your ear, across your face, it runs on the bottom of your nose. It's pretty cool. So your ears fit right in this corridor in the middle of your face. Ears are pretty good. They lay flat against the head. They do not grow straight to the side like elephant ears. I hope that helps. I'm going to show one more picture that I find really useful in learning how to draw the human face. And then I'm going to start drawing a face for those of you who want to watch. You may. I prefer that you not watch me, however. think it's much better for you to just fly on your own, fly solo. I think you will learn much more doing it on your own. Okay, I love this diagram drawing of the human face because it's demonstrating everything that I was just trying to show you with the pencil on my own face. Again, the oval is symmetrical, so you see this vertical guideline right down the middle. That goes first. Halfway down the face, we have our guideline for the eyes. Halfway between the eyes and the chin, we have the guideline, the horizontal guideline for the bottom of the nose. Halfway between the bottom of the nose and the lips, we have the bottom of the mouth. You do those guidelines and you're good to go. And in the meantime, remember, from the pupil straight down, that's where the outer edge of the mouth is. From the inner corner of the eye to the outer edge of the nostril, you can see the width of the nose. Isn't that amazing? Every time I look at that, it takes my breath away how incredible the symmetry and the proportions of the human face are. The only problem I have with this drawing is where the ears are. It's not, I don't think it's right.
You think it should be lower?
Yes. Well, actually, you know what it is? I'm seeing now, the guideline for the eyebrow it's all right. It's really okay. So that where they put the guideline for the eyes is a little bit lower on the oval than where I usually put it. So it's all good. But I find this diagram incredibly helpful. I think it's a good one for those of you who are my newest students. I might leave it up today for you to look at. Now, if you are going for realism, I don't recommend you work from tiny photographs. They're really difficult to copy. I don't want you to work from your imagination. If you are trying to do a realistic portrait, I want you to look for a large photo. And I'm now struggling with the special section from the New York Times this Sunday. I'm having a hard time folding it. I want you to look for a large image like this of someone facing straight ahead. I promise we're going to have a class soon on profiles. I've been promising that for a while, haven't I? They're a whole different ballgame. Don't try and do a profile unless you're one of my more veteran students. So this is a good one because it's large and you can see all of her features. She's a beautiful woman, a domestic cleaner. I don't know if any of you had the chance to look at this section from the New York Times last Sunday about all the people we should be very grateful to who served us during the pandemic at the risk of their lives. All right, so I'm going to start drawing. I am not going to draw in pencil. I'm going to use Sharpie because it'll be easier for you folks to see. I want to reiterate, I prefer that you do not watch me, but if you think it'll be helpful for you to watch me, I can't stop you.
Yeah.
Please mute, because I know there are several artists in the house who like quiet while they work. So just to clarify for myself, you can see me as well as the image on the screen at the same time, correct? Yes. Okay, good. I will be doing a little bit of talking for instructional purposes. If you don't like that, just try and tune me out. I'm going to start with an oval. Now, this woman's face, because she's in the beautiful process of aging, her face has lost a lot of its ovalness. It's becoming quite round, particularly in the chin area. So it's much softer and less oval. At her stage of life. I hate when people say it's fuller, but it is. So it's not a true oval. I do my ovals curved because it helps me to remember, or I do my guidelines curved because it helps me to remember that the human face is curved and three-dimensional. I did my vertical guideline a little bit to the left because her head is tilted slightly to the left. And here goes my guideline for her eyes. Now, because I'm doing this in marker, I will not be able to erase the guidelines. That's why I prefer that you work in pencil so that you can erase your guidelines when you're finished. Okay, so my three guidelines: eyes, nose, mouth, and I'm going to begin. I like to start with the eyes, and I always work on the eyebrows first because they are different on every human being. Then I like to notice the line for the inner crease of the upper eyelid. It's usually quite dark and distinct. And then the outer edge of the upper eyelid and the way it curves. Everyone's eyelids are different. Some people have very heavy, deep set eyelids. Others have the reverse. Then I look at the iris or the colored portion of the eye. I notice that it fills really the whole eye. It's quite large. I look at the whites of the eye. It's kind of a hourglass or wine goblet shape. Her eyes are quite dark. But there is a patch of light coming in. Remember, the human eye reflects and absorbs light. You need to show that in order to have your portrait look real and human if you're doing something realistic today. I hope I made it clear before that it doesn't matter which way you went in this project. I value whichever type of project you decided to do. I hope you realize that in Ibou's discussion before, that everyone has their own particular style. If you want to work from your imagination, that's great. If you want to work realistically to improve your skills, that's brilliant also. They're both wonderful ways to work. Neither is good or bad. They're both part of the artistic process. Okay, so I have the basic shape of her eye. There's not much visible in this photograph as far as eyelashes go, so I'm just gonna darken the outer edge of her upper eyelid because that's really all that's visible in this portrait. That's really key in realistic work, folks. Only draw what you can see. If you can't see it, leave it out. All right, now I'm going to drop down to working on the nose. The nose has very little line in it. It's something three-dimensional. It projects outward on the face. The best way to draw the human nose is to model it with shading. So I can't really do that with my Sharpie. I'm going to come back with graphite or charcoal after I do a bit of work with the Sharpie later on. But right now I'm going to work on the outer edges of her nostrils because really the only bit of line that you can see when working on the human face is on this outer edge here around the nostrils. Everything else is about light and dark, particularly if you look at my face at the moment. So this side of my face, the right side of my face, is in bright sunlight. The left side of my face is in deep shadow. The only way I can show that realistically on a flat two-dimensional surface is with shadow. Can't do that really with Sharpie, but I'm going to show you how to do that momentarily with, probably with graphite. All right, so her nostrils, and if you remember from what I was saying before, if you drop your pencil from the inner corner of the eye straight down, that's where the outer edge of her nostril will lie on her face. It's such a great measuring device. Again, inner corner of the eye, drop your pencil straight down. That's the outer edge of the nostril. That's where it curves outwards. And she's got a little bump here. It's a beautiful nose, this woman. Tiny bit of line here. She has very deep laugh lines. So I'm going to emphasize that. And then the lips, very little line action in lips too. Really, the darkest line you see on lips is the line in the middle, separating the upper lip from the bottom lip. Now, this woman is wearing lipstick, so I do see a bit of definition on the outer edges of her lip because of that. So I am going to put a bit of a light outline for her lips. Usually I would just define it by using shading, but I will emphasize in a moment by shading. All right, so her ear is visible on this side of her head. Just put that in. Hairline. I know it's hard for you to see my drawing, but I think it's going to become more clear now. So I'm going to start shading. So now I'm using a media called graphite, which is basically what you find on the inside of your pencil. Naomi, do you have a graphite stick in your pencil kit? Good. Try using it because it's so much fun.
I went to Collage today.
Oh, you're doing collage, okay. Oh, Ibou will like that. Should we invite him back at the end for our sharing session?
Is Dolly Parton still asleep on her back?
Yes? We'll see if he's available. So I'm now modeling the contours of her face by shading. Those of you who are using pencil, I'm going to demonstrate. The easiest way to create shadow is to use the side of your pencil and press hard. I like to start with a light amount of shading, and I go darker. I find it easier to add darker shading as I go. Everybody good? I'm so absorbed today. I didn't. Seem to be working very hard. I'm going to stop the share now so I can check the chat box. Oh my, Lauren. Wow. Thank you so much.
Very welcome. It's my pleasure. I hope that helps. I'm still trying to find the origin information, but I hope that helps.
This is brilliant. And you can copy and save this information, everybody. There's a, if you go, I think if you go to the reactions at the bottom of your screen, there's an option. No, that's not where it is. There is an option to save, but I'm not sure where. Maybe it's in edits. No. I don't know.
I wanted to just mention, if you guys can't cut and paste, I'd be happy to send it to everybody, a little blurb, if you give me your email. Or Liz, I can email you and you can forward it.
Why don't you send it to me and I'll send it to everybody. And if there's
You got
anyone who has not given me their email address, I'm going to put my email address in the chat box again. And you can just send it to me, or you can just chat me. You can, you know, send me your email address, but just send it to me in the chat box. Oh, and Lauren, was this question for Ibou?
The question,
Significant
yes.
artistic influences?
Yes, ma'am.
I think that would be his mother.
Oh, cool.
But do you want me to see if I can call him back? If he's still at home? Let's see.
Sure.
Ibou? Yes. Oh, you're right here. Who was your most significant artistic influence? Your mom? Yeah. And people are wondering if it's sharing time, if you would be willing to come back and look at the work. Okay. His most significant influence is his mom.
Well, we have that in common.
Haha.
Thank you for asking him.
Of course. It's a great question. So, and I think I misspoke myself on the pencil classification. So the lower the letter on the alphabet, the closer to A on the alphabet, the softer, but the higher the number, the softer. Nomi, did you notice that? Did you look in the chat box?
That leaves me even more puzzled. Why 2 parameters?
Oh, you wanted to know why they've made that classification.
No, I wanted to know what I have on call in my box, but it's very confusing.
I think they've just put in the most commonly used pencils for you. Or the ones that art school teachers seem to think people need to use. That would be my guess.
Thank you.
Many thanks to Lauren. I know if you're learning graphic illustration, the HB pencil is important. So if you're doing drafting or design work, certain pencils are more important than they are for fine art work. Nomi, that might help you to understand too. I don't know. So I'm working on this woman's hair last. I like doing the hair last because it's so much fun. I don't know if you can see my full portrait. It's coming along. That line needs to come down. Notice how I'm blending my shadows, my shading. Make the face look more three-dimensional. I have 1 more minute till sharing. This place where you can see it a little better. Just going to look up what we have for our next class. All right. So our artists, first of all, I should say in August, we're going to be celebrating summer fun because August is usually vacation month for everyone, or for a lot of people in the US. And apologies have to go out to those of you who are in my class at the Multipurpose Center on Tuesdays. I'm going to repeat an artist, which this is the first time ever. I'm going to hear large groans from Esty. We're going to be doing Claude Monet for our first August artist. And we're going to be looking at landscapes. So Esty, I give you permission to cut class. I think you're the only person who was there yesterday, so.
To get permission from my mother too.
Yes, you'll have to call her.
Yeah, I will.
So Claude Monet, and we're going to work on landscapes. And I'm asking folks to please bring to the next class an image of a favorite vacation location or landscape in Hoboken even that you like. And we're going to have our own summer fun at home, painting landscapes next week.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be so fun. But again, I have never repeated an artist for those folks who do Tuesdays and Wednesday classes, both with me. So sorry to be doing that. That'll be a first.
And weaving tonight. Is that correct?
That's okay. Oh, Lauren, I think you might be having a private conversation that we can all hear. Just giving.
No, I was asking you the question, but Mom chimed in. But I'm very excited that we're going to see you twice today. That's always lovely. But anyone who didn't know, there's a weaving class tonight.
Oh, cool.
Union Union City Library.
Oh, great. Nice.
Oh gosh, I thought it was your class, Liz. I'm so sorry.
If it's me, I have completely forgotten about it, which is kind of embarrassing. Is it me, Mark?
No, sweetie.
I was having a small panic attack, actually a large panic attack there. I mean, I could have thrown it together, but all right, good. You're gonna love it. I bet it's somebody who's much more advanced weaver than I am. So you guys are gonna have a ball. So sharing. I made new rules last week for sharing.
Oh, you want to go in order?
So listen up, everyone. I'm going to start with the first person I see. And there were a couple of people who were really anxious to share last time who missed out. And in fact, Stephanie, you are first in my pictures and you were one of the people who just missed out. So that works out beautifully. So I'm going to spotlight Stephanie for everyone. Ibou, would you like to rejoin us? Because people are showing off their art. Hold on 1 minute, Stephanie. All right, well done. Oh, yeah. Really well done. My one suggestion, Stephanie, is I would give I would give her more shadow on the side of her face where her hand is.
Okay.
It will make her face appear more rounded. And
Okay.
maybe darken her hair.
Yeah.
And then perhaps give her a little more hair on the crown of her head, on the back of her head.
Okay.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, she copied.
Triangular face. That's beautiful.
Well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
This is the black and
So proud of myself.
yeah.
You should be. It's a
Thank
rich-
you, Liz.
Okay.
Your teaching has really helped me. You know, I just started, so you know that.
Yes. It's your persistence and practice that's making it happen.
With your help. Thank you.
Stephanie. All right. Susan, you're next on my list, but I want to make sure, Pat, are you in class today? Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Susan, I'm going to come back to you, but Pat was cut off at the very last minute in the last class. So I want to give her an opportunity first, and then Susan, you'll be next. How are you, Pat?
Hi, I did something different.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Beautiful.
I'm gonna add a lot of like the patterns. It's inspired by Ibou. The Asians have a lot of colorful pattern and fabrics.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it. Slowly.
Nice. Very nice.
Beautiful. And the background is really beautiful. It's very colorful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Are you using
Beautiful.
watercolor?
I am using watercolor. I also got this marker. It's fine line. But it's water soluble, so it's really fun when I put water and it dissolves and creates some unexpected effect.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I hope you'll be willing to share it with us when you're finished.
Oh,
Really,
sure.
really nice.
Thank you.
Beginning. Beautiful composition too. I like these vases to the side behind her. It really balances the power of the figure. Really nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks.
You, Liz.
So we're going to go back to Susan.
I haven't colored it yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm going to use to color it, but it's from my imagination. I do have a lot of masks in the house, so I looked around at all of them and got some ideas.
I like the eyes, you know, the eyes. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I like the whole, it's a little scary. I like it. I can't wait to do the color and some patterns and, you know, whatever on there.
Like
when it's done.
What?
That's cool.
Yeah, when it's done.
Okay. Yes, we'll do. Yeah.
It looks like a guardian of a temple or something, you know,
Yeah.
or the visage of a demon.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well done, Miss Susan.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Ibou.
You're welcome, sir.
All right. So next happens to be Esty.
You called?
Want to share? Ah, love it. Love the colors.
Yeah, the colors are
Of the simple lines.
blue and the brown.
Esty, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
So pretty.
I think I need more colors. If I want it to be a la Ibou.
It's beautiful. I like it. Yeah, the blue, the brown. Yeah, these are my favorite
I like the
so
colors.
I like the colors. It's beautiful.
Enough?
I think it's done, but you and I always argue about that.
Oh, we never argue, Liz. Let's not arguing.
We always have deep conversation,
Yeah.
but I like it.
Okay, thanks.
All right, great job. Thanks, Esty. And Alice, so good to have you today. Would you like to share? Woo, this is terrific.
That's nice.
I love the colors.
Is it like behind a sunset? It's just like sunset or sunrise, right? I like it.
Is it a sunset?
Did you mute her?
She's not speaking. Alice, you may be muted. Yeah, you're muted, Alice.
It's beautiful. It's nice.
Yeah, I think it's a sun.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It's a sunrise.
It's
Okay.
terrific drawing. The proportions on the face are good.
Oh, thank you.
Were you looking at a picture or this one is from your imagination?
From the imagination. But
It's good.
okay.
It's good to have you back.
Okay. I was on vacation.
Yay.
so-
I seem to have lost track of where we are. This is what happens.
Is it funny?
Doris. Thanks, Alice.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, I like how big it is, Doris. Terrific, terrific drawing.
First time.
Yeah.
First time ever?
No, first time doing a portrait.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really, really
The
well done.
proportions, yeah, the lesson really helped.
Good.
Yeah, the eyes. I like the eyes and
The one suggestion I have, Doris, your proportions are excellent. Particularly the nose is really, really the perfect length. I would bring the hairline up a bit. The forehead seems a little bit short.
Okay, good suggestion.
So from the brow to the edge of the hairline seems,
Right here.
yeah, it needs to be bigger there. Yep.
Okay.
And that's easy to fix. But really, really, really well done.
Thank
I
you.
like how you modeled the nose with shading instead of outlining it. That's what makes it look so real. Good job.
I struggled with the lips, so I'll still keep working on that a little bit.
Yeah, they're a bit dark. Maybe you can blend the edges a
Mhm.
little bit more into the skin.
I'll try that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
that's beautiful.
And guys, we've come to the end of our lesson. So if you want to send me JPEGs of your work, if you didn't get a chance to share, please do. And Lauren, if you want to send me that information, or if you're willing to send me that information, I tried to
I
was
mean,
able
I
to
mean, I
copy.
sent you the email.
Okay.
You got it, my dear.
I will send it to everyone. And if anyone has not given me their email address, please, you can email it to me and I will add you to our mailing list. So
Thank-
great working with everyone today. Today was
Thank you.
incredibly special. If you enjoyed the conversation that we had with Ibou today in October, the Hoboken Historical Museum has asked me to interview Ibou as part of their Hoboken Talk series. So I will be letting you know more about that in the future. And he and I are going to be having a two-person show there coming up. And one of my favorite artists in Hoboken, Donna O'Grady, is having an opening at the Hoboken Historical Museum this Sunday, August 1st. Unfortunately, I am unable to attend, but her work is really amazing. So if you get a chance to go, do go. Donna O'Grady. I'm going to just type her name in the box.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everybody,
Thank you. Bye.
au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bien.
Au revoir.
Merci.
See you all
Thanks
next.
to both of you.
Bye. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Thank you. You guys all
Bye,
have a great
Ibou.
week.
Bye, Liz. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I sent you a JPEG.
Art on.